So, first of all, I'd like to dwell a little bit on the word education. I know that the people who are associated in this forum are educationalists themselves. They have studied the meaning of the word education deeply. They have tried to bring about reforms, try to adapt the best methods. I know all that. So I'm not going to go very deep into what education means, but from my perspective, from my point of view, I would like to say a few words about education. I have presented this beautiful screen here, the beautiful tree here. It is so pleasant, like an educated person. It gives so much of confidence, serenity, and everybody is attracted to it. We would like to go and sit under the shade and enjoy the company of a tree like that. But education is supposed to equip us with the capability of facing life in all its practicality. And what is life? One thing is for sure, it is going to put challenges on us, for sure. Whether we are in a developed country or developing country, whether we are irrespective of our age, our economic status, whatever it is. One thing is for sure that we are continuously facing challenges, and it is education that helps us face those challenges, find solutions for those challenges, overcome those challenges, and be prepared for the next challenge. This is life. And the second screen set of pictures I have shown, there is this worried person and this coconut tree which is facing the storm. Now, we know that when life will keep posing us with tsunamis and hurricanes and tough situations, and we are left with a lot of thought and helplessness and all those things. But something internally, that energy and that vitality comes within us to face that challenges. And what is that? When we see that coconut tree, we know that its roots are very deep and strong, and that is what is holding the tree, and that what decides whether the tree will be able to sustain that storm or it is going to give up. Now, with that small introduction, I'll go to the next slide. Now here I come to the importance of roots. Now, that beautiful tree that we saw in the first slide, what we see is just the top portion, but inside there is the depth of its roots and the vastness, the network of its roots are much elaborate than the tree branches itself. So it is that which gives nutrition, the strength to the root, to the tree. And here I have just put in a few words like roots, culture, tradition, identity, personality. Now, a lot of thoughts might be coming in our minds with how all these words are related. The next picture is that of a banyan tree. This is my favorite tree, and it never stops to puzzle me, and the awe that I'm subjected to when I see a tree like a banyan tree, because here it is growing roots, new roots, and it is supporting the tree. It from the top, the roots are going down and then giving that step. That's why banyan trees have limitless age. Now, there is a lot of learning here. To all those people who say tradition, culture, they're all ancient, old ideologies, not flexible, all this, words that are blamed upon culture and tradition. Look at the banyan tree. Take new ideologies, take technology, take the changes that are happening. We all know that we have to be open to the fact that there is going to be change. A person who has realized this is what is who we can trust, that is educated enough. So that change, assimilate, accept those changes, form roots, and push them into your support system, like the banyan tree. Now, When is it that we are able to understand what are the changes that are happening, and how well we are able to receive it and how well we are able to assimilate it is when we have already assimilated our tradition, our past, our roots, the original roots. When we have digested that, now we are ready to accept new ideas. That's all. I would not like to dwell more upon this subject. It has a lot of, it triggers a lot of thought and emotions in us. And this much I think is enough to show how profound, how important it is for us to have a strong root system, which is there in our culture as tradition, as practices. And the last two words that I have put in there, identity and personality. So the roots which they create our identity. When a person is very clear about their identity, they know how they fit into the solution, into the situation, what solutions they can provide, how they can contribute, what are their limitations. It is when a self-understanding is where what develops a beautiful personality. That is when a person is able to engage with their own self, when they are able to understand the who am I, what am I. Now there is a philosophical aspect to it, which is also awesome. And our Indian tradition, we should be proud of our Indian tradition for those kind of interpretations. But in a very basic meaning also, identity and personality is very important. With this, I will move on to the next slide. Now here I would like to, why I would like to interrelate Indian music and school education. I'm not talking of education. I'm saying school education because it is the current formal education which is prevalent. As of now, school education is the formal education. And I'm saying in this formal education, Indian classical music has to be included. I will give reasons for that, and I will explain why I feel that. But before that, I would like to clarify, when I say Indian classical music, I don't mean only vocal. I don't mean some instrument, or I don't mean a particular style. According to Bharata's Natya Shastra in 2nd century itself, he says Sangeeta is a combination of Gita, Vadya, Nritya, Nataka. So, vocal music, the instrumental music, dance, theater, everything is as a wholesome thing is called music, is called Sangeeta. And his work, Natya Shastra, is a detailed description of how it should be, with all its technicalities and elaborations. He has written Natya Shastra. So, when I say music, Indian classical music has to be included in the school education, I mean it as a wholesome thing, not just vocal music, not just a particular Hindustani style or Carnatic style or the only Bharat. No, I mean our whole tradition has to be introduced. Why? Because let's go to the ancient system. We had the Gurukula system where the children were going to the Guru's ashram and learning. There, along with all the major core subjects, the tradition practices of the land was taught to them in a great detail, including their, apart from the vocational skills, whatever had to be imparted for their livelihood, that was a very small part of it. But more than anything else, the tradition, the culture of the land was given, and which included music, language, poetry, and about the speciality of that land, etc. So this was there in our education. So when the Westerners put the school education, the formal kind of school, this was removed from the school. Why? This should not have been done, is what I feel. Removed in the sense, I don't say that music is not at all there in our education. It is there as a extracurricular activity, or something which is not so important, which is secondary, that place is given. In fact, in many of the schools, it is branded as it is unsecular. It is, it is like imposing a religion on somebody. All that is wrong, because we all see music is related to the Vedas. It comes from the Samaveda. When anything is related to Vedas, it is related to our civilization. Vedic period is in the Indus Valley civilization, the Sindhu civilization. The Westerners might have called it the Indus Valley and called us Indians. The Persians might have called it the Hinduism and called us Hindus. Whatever it is, we are all our origin is the same, and that forms integral part of our identity and our culture. So when music is related to Samaveda, it is not to be something included as an extracurricular activity when the child spends so much time in school learning all the other core subjects. And this is completely, they come back, and if if time permits, the parents have to send them to music classes, dance classes, theater, and and it is promoted as a hobby, and then extra talents that the child has and all that. So it is given a secondary importance, and I'm saying it should be given as much importance as the core subjects like mathematics, like science, like the languages. Music should also be given, because that is as much as I explained till now, it is that important. So that is why I am saying, and I will in the further slides I will tell you what are the advantages of including it in our formal education. Now this is something I would like to mention as of now. Music is happening in top research, top universities. The music research is happening. We have the Berkeley Institution. We have several universities offering music as a subject and all that. But there is some link which is missing between the school education and the universities. And also in the universities, the kind of exposure that the university or the grants or the importance that the performing arts department is given is again another questionable thing. So let me take it. But these are the beautiful pictures that I would like to show, which shows how much of work can be done in music, be it a very top of the technology arts studio system where sound production of sound is enhanced in a beautiful way, where music recorded from such studios, you feel like listening to it. That is very, because audio acoustics is very important. And be it auditoriums like this, in our current situation, we are facing a dearth of proper acoustically good auditoriums to present music, which is economically also viable for the be it audience or for the performers. Now, all these are things that the government has to take some initiatives into. Yeah, so I am saying there is a huge relationship between music and several other core subjects which are being taught in schools as of now. For example, music and history. There is a correlation between music and science. There is music and psychology, music and math, music and medicine, music and physiology, music and spirituality. These are all the different topics that a few of them I will take up and show you that, by incorporating music as an interdisciplinary thing in all these core subjects, the student will understand the subject in a much better way. For example, very briefly, I will tell you music and history. Our music has developed, the most ancient treatise that we find is Bharata's Natya Shastra in the from 2nd century AD onwards till now. Whatever has happened in the development of music, there is a huge intertwined link between what has happened politically in our country, the kingdoms that patronized it, how the different artists, the situations that came. For example, in the just as an example, I will tell you, in the 12th, 13th century, because of the Mughal invasion, our music split into the Hindustani style and the Carnatic style. Similarly, during the 5th to 10th century, there were the Tamil saints, the Alvars and the Nayanmars, who made a huge impact on our development of our classical music. And so the history, the development of the political scenarios that happen and music is deeply connected. So when you're teaching children about the history of our country, I think they will understand it better when you teach them the music of those times. For example, when you're teaching them the Bhakti movement, of course, they need to at least listen to, they need to learn a few songs which were there, like Mira Bhajans, the Alvars, the Tirupugal, or the Dasas, the Devarnamas of the Sankirtanas of the Andhra. Then in the north we have the Guru Nanak, compositions, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's compositions, Meera. So it gives an integral feeling when they learn all these the abhangs of Namdev. They need to learn, or at least hear to it. They need to study the different set. That will give them a deep understanding of the history. This is just one instance of Bhakti movement that I have taken, but a lot of other historical developments of our nation can be linked to music. So there's about music, and there are several more things that I can deeply go into, but as of now, I will go to the next topic, which is music and science. It will astonish us with, the kind of, first of all, let me announce that Indian classical music system is accepted worldwide as the system which is most organized in terms of understanding all the technical terms of music, a subject which is as abstract as music. To make someone understand music, the way they have gone about the system, and the organized way in which music is taught and perceived in India is worldwide accepted, be it in terms of exploration, classification, and the recognition of ragas, or be it the rhythmical aspects of it. The rhythms, it has been exhaustively researched, documented, classified, organized. So, right from what is a note, what is the frequency of different notes which are coming in an octave, how many, what is the frequencies which is heard and which cannot be perceived, theoretical, practical aspects, and the development of all these instruments are a proof of their understanding of how the sounds are produced. The beat, right from yal to the fretted veena, the flute, the mridangam, and even in our architecture we have pillars which can produce the seven notes, the sound of the seven notes. So the understanding of the different frequencies, the acoustics, and even ancient systems, they had this rangamandapams, where the classical music or dance or the drama was presented, and there were no mics, there were no other technologically advanced equipments there. But when the dancer or the main musician performed in the central stage, the person who was at the end of the auditorium also was able to listen and understand it with that. So the sense of how a building has to be acoustically built so that the music and the dance have the best effect. All this knowledge was there in our system, and this has been documented in our treatises. Unfortunately, we have lost our knowledge of Sanskrit, due to which we are now eating, like this. From the West, we are getting the information about this, and we are now looking into our treatises. So this is about music and science. So how well our instruments are developed. To this day, the melodic way of presenting music, the limitations of the piano is that gamakas, our music is rich in gamakas. That is not, we cannot play gamakas in instrument like piano, etc. So the way the Indian instruments are developed are astounding, actually. Which invites a lot of research and study from the Westerners. Now, the next is music and psychology. Now, this is the most studied subject these days. It has been proved, and we are seeing the benefits of how music is able to revive patients of Parkinson's, and who are mentally ill, and physically also. We have instances where Dikshitar composed kritis in a particular raga to heal his student who was suffering from a great stomach ailment, and when the student sang that, he was healed of that disease. All these documentations we have. So there is a direct relationship between the health, the mental health and the physical health of a human being and music. The different ragas, what effect it has on emotions, on the different parts of our body, everything is studied in detail. So there is a direct connection between music and science. Similarly, music and math. Now, our rhythmic system, I told you, is the most elaborately understood, organized, systematized form. So, be it an avarta, how many aksharas are there in an avarta, and which speeds, whether you're singing it in fours, threes, fives, sevens, what are the calculations, the creativity that happens on stage. Depending on how much of that avarta is left and what I need to sing at or play at that moment of time, so that it comes at the sum, or these certain aspects that I'm telling. So it mathematically you have to be very sound for you to be good in music, especially the percussionists, the vocalists, the instrumentalists. All of them have to have a basic knowledge of mathematics in order to understand, appreciate and present music. So that coordination is possible only when there's a very good understanding of math and rhythm. So this is also proven. And then music and spirituality. Now this is my favorite subject, because it shapes the very essence of our human life. Because in our music system, this is very, very, very unique, because there are musicians or the great Vagyakaras who have attained samadhi sthiti, or the highest state of mind, or the spiritual, the highest state of spiritual attainment through music they have attained and they have shown. So they have told that nadopasana, the music is the easiest way towards God, towards your own self, the Raja Yoga, the Kundalini Yoga, all that they have been, they have experienced it while doing the music sadhana. This can be time and again when we see the life histories of great Vagyakaras like Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshitar, then several other musicians to name, Shama Shastri and our Mysore Sadashivrao, Vasudevacharya. They all have their own instances that have happened in their life where they have experienced elevation of their own being, elevated state they have attained. And all musicians, when they practice pure nada, when they do have an elevated experience. Not only musicians, especially the audience also, they have, I'm sure, would have experienced that elevated states. And so spirituality, it is like a refined way of living. It refines our way of thinking. Humans are, somehow it differentiates human from all other life forms when we have this refinement and when we have this aesthetics in living. So music and spirituality is so important in our lives. So with this, I would like to say that, music being connected to so many subjects that are taught in school, I would say that it should be an integral part of the school education system, and it should not be made a subject of secondary importance. Now the question will be, see, there is one myth, or there's a very false notion saying that only the talented people can learn music, the untalented people, like, how can everybody learn music? I am saying, how many of us are talented in math? How many math studying students will become mathematicians, or how many science studying students will end up in IISc being scientists? Don't we study all these things? Similarly, music is a must. Whether later on you take up music as your career, whether you flourish in that art or not, a basic knowledge of music helps you to appreciate music. At least when you go to a concert and when you listen to a concert, and you are able to enjoy that great art form which took its birth in our great land. That itself is a great thing. Imagine if you are an Indian and you're sitting in an Indian classical music and in a concert and you're not able to appreciate it. I think that is something which will deeply sadden a person, because you're not able to relate to your own culture and tradition. So I strongly feel that school education and Indian classical music as a subject has to be. Uh, I would like to end this session with a few beautiful clippings of music. So I will just, our great musicians who have been in our country. This is a small clipping of Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, who is, now this is something.
Thanks, Ms. Shilpa. Yeah, can you come to your last slide, please, where I think like you have displayed your contact details and all that?
Yes, I would like to conclude now with just a few words.
Sure.
Music is something which transcends our any kind of discrimination, whether it be of our which nation or which caste or creed or which religion you are practicing, what is your age, etc. For example, now what I played, I had a few more clippings. Sorry, I was not able to play it properly, but here we see Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, who is from Karnataka, who is a great exponent of Hindustani Hindustani classical music. And many Muslims who have learned the Carnatic classical music, many Hindus who have learned the Hindustani music, and who have so a caste or our this one does not play a huge role here. What plays a role here is our identity as children of this land. That is what I would like to stress. And branding music as secular and all this is a very wrong thing, and we are depriving the children of what is rightfully theirs by not giving them this knowledge in school. I thank you all for your patient hearing. Namaste.
Thanks, Ms. Shilpa. It's beautifully explained. The message is also beautifully delivered. We have some questions lined up here. Actually, it's 13 questions, but we are already, our time is up, but I will read out some important questions. Basically, you have covered everything, but again, I don't want to disappoint the audience with their questions. So in practice, what space does music occupy in the school's curriculum?
What space?
Yes.
So when we take music as a subject in school, it is not necessary that we give them of course, practical music is a practical subject. If not everybody is equipped enough to sing, the basic knowledge that we need to give them about what a swara is, what is an octave, which are the 12 swaras, what is raga, what is how to appreciate music, at least that much is a basic what I would say. And as the student progresses higher in education, they can choose whatever they want according to their interests and passions and etc. But this basic knowledge of what the music is, what is theater, what is dance, what is our tradition, is something that has to be given to everybody in school, irrespective of what kind of school it is. Just like we teach math and science is what I have already.
Right. So can you maximize your camera, please? Because we don't have the PPT now. Viewers can see you completely. Is it possible?
Yeah.
That's okay. If it's not there, no issues. Just leave it like that. I'll move on to the next question.
Yes.
You already spoke about music and math, music and psychology and all other. This question is related to that again. How do you integrate music into other learning areas?
Other learning areas. So learning areas means I'm assuming like all the other core subjects, right?
Yes, like, that's what I understood.
Correct. So having I would say music is applied math. Correct. When one learns mathematics and when one learns music also, they can see how mathematics is being applied in music. When they're calculating all that quick calculations, and when we are especially formulating all the muktayas and all that in 3s and 7s, and we are using arithmetic geometric progressions to calculate all those things, they can see the application of what they have learned in math in music. So they can see the relation. This is just one example I have seen given. I have told in my talk that how music is related to science, physics, the sound, the knowledge of light, etc. Then other psychology, also spirituality, everything. So music can be connected to all their core subjects, and it doesn't stand out as something which is not related to what they're studying. It beautifully integrates into what their core subjects. So I don't think it should be, I don't know how they were able to extract it out only.
Right. So moving on to the next question, Ms. Shilpa, is Indian classical music being actively promoted in schools today?
Not as much. A few schools have introduced something called a music period, but that is always taken very lightly. It is not being perceived with the seriousness that it should be. It's not a must-pass subject. These kind of second preferences what is being followed, and it suddenly again
you mentioned you said some schools say that it's or some parents feel that it's just an extracurricular activity.
Exactly, that treatment should be taken as a serious subject is my argument.
Right. So how does Indian classical music help in school education? You have covered this, but I'm just like reading out this question.
Yes, it like the first 2 slides I have explained, it gives them their roots.
That is true.
So as much as history is important for a person to relate to himself, to find his identity, I'm saying music is also that important, because it is the tradition of this land. That's where you belong to. You need to know that. Otherwise, you will not have a firm footing.
Right. So audience want to know, what made you take an interest in this topic?
I am a musician myself who has practiced from my age of 3. I have been lucky enough to find great gurus, and I have been in this practice of music, and I have found my insights and how it relates to the whole overall life, and it has improved the quality of my life, my thinking, everything. And I want others also to have this. And I know that I missed it in school because I was not able to give this as much importance as I should have, unless I got my own senses. Like after graduation is when I felt, I should take this up seriously. Until then, I had no choice. It was always given the second preference.
Right. So you already might have tried, in schools saying that, or you might have spoken to other educators also that the importance of music in the school curriculum. What are the challenges of incorporating Indian classical music in schools these days?
Yes, one of the biggest challenges is they have branded it as secular. It is religious and all the see. The fact that there were a few musicians who played a major role in the development of Indian classical music. For example, Muthuswami Dikshita or Tyagaraja. The fact that they were all Hindus should not stop one from. In fact, all the Hindustani exponents were all Muslims. Any gharana was started by some Khan or some Muslim, isn't it? Didn't we accept it? Why now you are branding Hindustani or Carnatic as religious, should not be taught in school and all those things? It's a form, it has developed in our country. Tanjore at that time was the principal seat where development took place, where all the artists, be it from Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra, they all had to go and take refuge in Tanjore, and art flourished at that time. And that was the golden period, and music developed at that time. And of course, naturally, the deity that they were devoted to, they composed in those. What is wrong? Why shouldn't that be taught?
Right. So I think it's a question from an educator or a parent. I'm not sure, but it says teaching music in schools is often limited to just preparing students for a stage performance. How do you think music education can be improved in schools?
Yes, that is exactly what I meant when I said there some schools still have music period, but the music teacher becomes suddenly important only in the annual day or where there is a presentation. That is not the way. I feel music has to be given equal importance. Just as you study music in MA level or in the PhD level, there is that much stuff there, be it theoretical point of view or practically. There is so much to be studied. Why should a child be deprived of that? Whether irrespective of whether the child has a good voice or not, whether the child is able to sing or see, every child is musically inclined. I will and can be 100% sure of that. It relaxes a person, it improves their creativity, it gives them sharpness. All that, when we have medically, it has been proven and we know that it is advantageous for the child. Why not take it up in a serious way?
Right. I think the government, until the government makes it as it mandatory, I think then only it will be implemented properly. So what can school managements do to encourage classical music education in their schools?
See, classical music, like I said, is the mother of all other kind of music. So once you know classical music, you can then divert to Western music or film music or folk music or Sugama Sangeeta, because everything, the basic, the 7 notes and its knowledge is very important. And classical music is a systematic way of knowing those basics. So what the school management can do is employ teachers and insist them to teach these basic, not just come and teach some songs and go. Of course, songs is a must, because only when they sing, they will be able to appreciate what they have learned theoretically. After all, music is a practical performing. So, but the science behind it, the history behind it, the math behind it, like I said, all these are correlated. That is what the teacher has to highlight. Then they will get the appreciation of everybody, of that will hold the child's interest.
So thanks a lot, Ms. Shilpa. They have a couple of more questions lined up, but I cannot extend this session as we already passed time, 10 minutes more. School Journal of Education and schoolreformer.com. Thank you for the talk and for patiently answering all the questions. We also thank the audience for participating in the event. Ms. Shilpa has given her email address and all the details, contact details. If anybody wants to write to her, they can reach out to her through email. And we will be ending this session now. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.